They brought the anesthesiologist in the room, and I was like, oh, I feel like I have to poop really bad. And they were like, no, that is not poop. That's the baby's head. That's the baby's head. They didn't finish giving me the epidural. I felt everything.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Reacts, here with Sophie and Joss. Today we're going to be talking about birth plans. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, subscribe and ring the notification bell.
Well, my plan right now is to have a vaginal birth, and I do plan on having epidural.
Did everything go according to plan?
Slightly, but no. Yes, well, no, not everything went according to plan.
Did you have a birth plan, Joss, when you had your kids?
I wanted a water birth, so my partner and I did a little bit of research, but in hindsight, looking now at the detail that some people go into about describing what they want and what they don't want and maybe potentially having a doula there or something, I don't think we went into enough detail.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what this lady says
What
about
about you?
her current birth plan.
Did you have one?
I did have a birth plan, so I had an elective C-section because of my fertility history and journey to having Grace. So I did a lot of research on the different ways that I could give birth and then decided that the right thing for me at the time was to go elective C-section because of the anxiety of, you know, everything that we'd been through basically. So that was my birth plan. But I did research everything else initially with my friend who runs the Mindful Birth group. So I did have a lot of support. Shall we see what this lady says?
See what she says.
We asked expecting parents to talk about giving birth. Let's see what she says before and after.
I'm Mary Lee. I'm Jessica.
And who are you to each other?
Friends. We're co-workers. She's my baby's mama oven. I guess I'm just the surrogate, right? I don't. No one's ever called it.
carrier.
Oh, gestational carrier, right? Yeah.
How far along?
36 weeks. About to pop.
Oh my goodness, who is this?
This is Odette.
Hi, Odette. How was the baby conceived?
I mean, it was with somebody that I've been seeing for like a year or so.
Tell me about it.
It definitely created joy and a good time, but then I was not expecting a baby to happen.
How did your friends and family respond to you?
I think a lot of people are kind of like, why are you doing this?
Yeah. Why are you doing this?
It seemed unfair that you guys couldn't have a kid.
And it is unfair. My husband and I, we had waited a long time to have a baby. I finished school, we had jobs, we bought a house. You know, check. I did all the things I was supposed to do. And then I couldn't have a baby. So I was pretty pissed. I don't think I've ever been happier. If this were a movie scene, I would be walking into a flower-filled valley with rainbows and cookies falling out of it.
So this obviously really resonates with. We didn't actually know what we were going to watch here, did we?
No.
Really resonates with my own personal journey, with my best friend being our surrogate for our firstborn Leo. So this is, you know, it's obviously hits home quite a lot. So it's nice to see the before and after. And I remember Em and I did a before and after video. So when we were in hospital, she was pregnant with Leo. We did a little video before and then we did an after video when I was holding him. So this is actually, very similar. So I'd be interested to see what their birth plan was before and after.
Yeah.
Because Em and I, both decided at the time that, again, she was quite comfortable having an elective C-section because of it being surrogacy and having a little bit more control over the situation, I think. So be interested to see what these guys did.
Let's see.
Yeah.
The sky.
Do you have a birth plan?
Well, my plan right now is to have a vaginal birth, and my mom thinks that I should have a natural birth, but I do plan on having epidural. I don't know what the pain feels like, so I'm pretty nervous about that.
I've had 2 kids. There is like a 5-minute window having my second son that I was just like, what the fuck did I do this for? And is this what death feels like? And then it was over so quickly.
In our perfect world, we get to the hospital in time to get Marilee an epidural.
Yeah.
That's
Won't happen though. I had an epidural for like a half hour, right?
Yeah.
To not be in excruciating pain at the end allows you to be more present. I didn't feel like I was going to die at any point during her birth, which is a win.
They brought the anesthesiologist in the room, and I was like, oh, I feel like I have to poop really bad. And they were like, no, 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 that is not poop. That's the baby's head. That's the baby's head. They didn't finish giving me the epidural. I felt everything.
How do you think this is going to change your relationship?
I think that we'll probably be a little bit more comfortable with each other. I'm going to be front and center Marilee's vagina. I saw her come out of your vagina.
Yes, you did.
We've discussed a lot of our own bodily functions, so I think it just brings another level of closeness.
How has the pregnancy changed your relationship with the father?
I would say now we have to have a lot more serious conversations about the baby and responsibility. So my daughter's dad has communicated that he does want to be a part of her life, and what I hope the relationship will be like in 5 years is like really good co-parents. That's really what I want. Like nothing's gonna happen like romantically. I'm like pretty sure of that just because we're just not compatible.
How has the pregnancy changed your
I
sex?
feel like that's a good place to stop and just think about obviously everything that she's just been through.
Yeah.
She obviously got accidentally pregnant.
Yeah.
But they both sound like they're being really mature about the situation.
Yeah.
You know, they brought a child into the world
Yeah.
and, you know, co-parenting, you know, as long as you're both sort of on the same page, etc.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And just how sort of different but the same sort of these situations are. I think,
Yeah.
you know, you can have a real, I think when you grow up, for me personally, you have an idea about how you see
Yeah.
your life's going to be.
family
and you'll
building.
Get, you
Yeah.
might get pregnant sort of
Yeah.
naturally, and you're going to be with the father, and that's it,
Yeah.
and live happily ever after. And I think what you and I,
Mhm.
you know, get to experience in our jobs as well is just that, you know, a lot of the time that doesn't happen.
No.
And actually, what do you need to do to
Yeah.
be able to sort of get your, you know, to be able to have a child, and
Yeah.
all the different situations, which I'm so grateful now we can talk about, you know, surrogacy and
Yeah.
everything like that a little bit more openly, because that would not have been a thing
No,
sort of
absolutely. And
years
I
ago.
always say that I'm so grateful that I live in a time where IVF and surrogacy exist, because otherwise we would not, you know, my husband and I wouldn't have had children for different reasons.
Yeah.
And obviously this lady says, you know, she said, I did everything right and I still couldn't have a child. But actually what is right, you know, like you say, there's so many different situations and ways to build families
Yeah.
now. And we're very lucky we live in a time that allows that.
Yeah, and I was really lucky to be able to get pregnant both times, very lucky.
Yeah.
But I will still educate my children
Yeah.
on, you know, sort of how, you know, family building has
Yeah.
evolved, and just making sure that, again, looking at the other lady who
Yes.
obviously, you know, again, didn't plan to have a
No.
child, it's like also you need to make your children aware that those conversations are okay to have
Yeah.
as well, because actually it's a huge sort of thought process to go through, and what the next steps are, and what the support that you've got. So
Yeah.
this is
And then
really-
obviously talking about the births, that, you know, the before and after,
yeah.
you have to have an idea of what could change. You can have a birth plan, absolutely.
Yeah.
But from everything we've experienced in our jobs and people in our lives, it's always important to know what could happen, what
Yeah.
could change, and
Yeah.
be aware and educate yourself. And that's where people like the Mindful Birth Group, I suppose,
Yeah.
can help
Oh
you
my gosh,
look at
yeah.
all the different scenarios so that you're not taken by surprise.
I'd have loved
on
to
the
have done
day.
mindful birth
Yeah.
group in my life when
Yeah.
I was pregnant. I
Yeah.
just would have, because I think, as I say, it would have given you a ideal sort
Yeah.
of scenario, and then
Yeah.
also a plan B, or
Yeah.
even a plan C.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what we talk to our surrogates about as
Yeah.
well. You know, I speak to a lot of the surrogates just about what their ideal, you know, sort of situation
Yeah.
would be, but then the honesty of what could potentially
What could
happen,
potentially
you know, and just
happen,
make
yeah.
sure that they get what they need out of that journey, as
Yeah.
well as what the intended parents do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, let's see what else happens.
At 41, I'm going to prioritize sleep over sex, so that's not really helping the sex life there.
I have been having really good sex this pregnancy, and so we're just sort of enjoying ourselves.
How is having a baby for somebody else change your sex life?
I mean, it's easier to have sex after having a baby if the baby doesn't live with you.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not going to have sex for like months more.
Mine increased because I think there's so much
Really?
more joy
Only woman to have ever said that in history. Every man out there is going to go get a surrogate now. He's like, how are you coming with a great idea?
Were you worried that you would be attached to her?
Yeah, of course.
When we hold that cute tiny baby, I'll be like, man, I wish we had one of these. And then it'll cry and I'll be like,
When I've had my own kids, you feel this immediate connection. And I looked at her and I immediately was like, this isn't my baby.
What was...
I think that's really interesting because that was one of the first things I ever asked Em, who offered to be our surrogate. You know, what if you get attached to our genetic baby? What happens? You know, what does that look like? And I mean, she was always very adamant that she had 2 children of her own, and she knew that wasn't going to happen, having carried and having that experience before. So I think it's really interesting to hear, that surrogate's opinion. And I think it just highlights that there are certain women in this world who know that they can be a surrogate and just have this aura and, have the mentality that is needed and know that they are growing, helping to grow someone else's child, but it's not their child.
And
so
that's incredible whenever I speak to a surrogate, and we always have that really honest and open conversation about what the journey will look like, potentially look like, and about how they're going to feel. And obviously, as you know, in MSJ, we can have a lot of support in regards to the sort of journey and the emotional and counselling support we give. But, a lot of, and that was really emotional when you heard the surrogate say, she can't have a child. Why wouldn't I try and help? I mean, that gets me every time, because you're right. Selfless, incredible, wonderful human beings like that are creating families for others, which is mind blowing.
Yeah, and obviously no one knows how the surrogate is going to feel after the birth, and there's obviously situations that have happened in the world where it hasn't gone quite to plan, and they have felt different to how they thought they would. But that's why you need as much support around you as possible and as much education, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Your family's reaction?
Oh, my dad, he was confused for a very long time and just did not understand how it happened, because my parents did not know that I was doing anything. And my mom was upset. And so it's definitely been a process for my family to adjust to everything. Oh my gosh, my mom is in love with the baby. Like, all of my family's in love with the baby, but especially my mom. And then my dad, I've just seen like a whole 180 switch in him. Me and my sisters, when we were babies, like, he was not really like attentive and hands-on at all. But with her, like, when she's crying and like screaming and crying when I'm changing her diaper, he'll literally run upstairs and be like, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with her? Is everything okay? Stuff like that. So yeah, it's nice to see.
Do you think you'll ever do this again?
I don't know. It's hard to imagine that there's like enough love to give to 2 kids.
I think that's what every parent feels. It somehow works out.
Yeah.
I would not be a surrogate again, but I have 0 regrets about having her. I didn't put that much thought into it before I offered it, but I really felt like that was something I could do, and I did, and it worked out, and I'm super proud of myself for that.
I'm super proud of you too, and I feel like forever grateful that you gave us Odette.
Do you think you want to do this again?
Oh, another baby? Yeah, but I want to be married first. I can't have too many baby daddies.
It's always emotional for me when I watch, anything like that. I think just being able to see, like at the end where, she said how happy her dad was and how it can bring families together. It's just beautiful.
And I imagine, obviously my children aren't old enough to have children yet, but I imagine, like we said, you have this, when you're younger, you have this view of how you think your family building life's going to go. You're going to get married, you're going to have kids, it's all going to be, you're going to get pregnant first time. Life doesn't always work like that, and maybe that's the same for when you have grandchildren as well. So it's just bearing that in mind, that it might that story might not be how you have in your head, but I think we've just all got to be open to change and to things that might, happen in life, and that's okay.
And how lovely that surrogacy is an option for people. I'm so super proud of that. I'm proud that I can educate and talk to people about that. My children know about surrogacy and egg donation, and and I think that's incredible.
Yeah. They do a lot of debriefing, don't they, if your birth hasn't gone to how you want? Because a lot of women are very much like, I want a vaginal birth, like this is what, and I've seen people where it hasn't happened and they've struggled postnatally.
Right.
So I think it's just looking after yourself postnatally, really, and getting the support. So if anyone has a birth that doesn't go quite to plan, just remember to get the support postnatally, debrief the birth and speak to experts around you. But just know that it will be okay as long as your baby gets here safely, and that you've done as much education as possible around the different types of births that you can have. I think that's what's really important. Thanks for watching myself and Joss today. Don't forget to like, subscribe and ring that notification bell.
Thank you.